Good morning, good evening, depending on where you are. I would first like to thank the organizers of DSTA 2021 for giving me the opportunity of presenting a very recent line of work that we are pursuing. As you know, physical reality is represented in two quite different formalisms. For our sized objects, we have the classical mechanics represented by Newton's laws, Lagrangian formalism, Hamiltonian formalism, and for microscopic objects, we have the quantum mechanics, where the formalism is entirely different, defined by Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, Schrödinger's equation, and so on and so forth. Naturally, a question is, if I have a system which exhibits chaos in the classical domain, what would its behavior be in the quantum domain? And in this work, we have taken a system with which many of you are familiar, the impact oscillator. Many people in this audience must have worked on the impact oscillator. We know that the impact oscillator is chaotic under certain conditions. So, what we do in this work is to take the same system and ask, if there is a similar system in the quantum domain, then what would its behavior be like? I will first present, since I cannot assume that everybody in the audience is exposed to the work on impact oscillators, I will very briefly discuss the impact oscillator, and then I will introduce the quantum version of it. And we will do it in a few stages. In the first stage, we will not consider the forcing and the damping, and in the next stage, we will consider forcing, and in the third stage, we consider it in its full glory with the forcing as well as damping. And in every stage, I will introduce certain methods of analysis depending on Wigner distribution, the overlap integrals, and various tests of chaos. And then we will conclude. So, let us start with a brief discussion on the classical impact oscillator. Any system where the components have any possibility of impacting against one another is an impacting system against some kind of a hard surface. And it is known that such systems behave in interesting ways when we have grazing, and such systems are very common in many engineering disciplines. So, here is a very simple model of such a impacting system, in which we have a mass spring damper system forced by some kind of a forcing function. We consider a sinusoidal forcing function, and there is a wall. So, as the mass oscillates under the influence of this sinusoidal forcing function, at some condition it will just graze this wall, and after that there will be impacts. And we know that our earlier work has shown that chaos develops when there is grazing, and interesting dynamical phenomena develop. And in order to explain that sudden onset of chaos, Nordmark developed a discrete time representation of the system in the close neighborhood of the grazing condition, and he showed that it would have this kind of a form. Noticeable is this particular term, which is the square root of x sub n. When you take the Jacobian of that, the square root comes in the denominator, and as a result, when x tends to 0, this term blows to infinity. So, we have one term in the Jacobian blowing off to infinity, and this results in what is known as infinite local stretching in the phase space. It is easy to see that phenomenon in the bifurcation diagram. Here is a part, the mu is representing some parameter in the system, for example, the amplitude of the forcing function or the frequency of the forcing function, and for some range of that parameter it is non-impacting, and therefore, it is just a straight line, and then at this point there is impact, and it is clear that the moment there is impact and a chaotic orbit develops. And subsequently it goes through various stages of evolution. There are chaotic windows, there are periodic windows, and so on and so forth. We are interested in this part. It is easier to understand that in one dimensional representation, where it will take a form like this. There are two parts of it. This part is when it does not graze or impact, and this part is related to the situation where it does graze, and this part is linear, and this part has that square root term. So, it is easy to see that when you take a derivative of that, the square root will come in the denominator, and as x n tends to 0, this will have an infinite value. So, the slope goes to infinity. So, there is a slope singularity in this map. The result is that if you take a interval on x n, it maps to a small interval in x n, it maps to a small interval in x n plus 1. But if you take a small interval somewhere here, then it will map to a large interval in x n plus 1. So, there is a stretching, and that is what is known to be responsible for the onset of chaos. It is easy to understand that mechanism. I can also explain in terms of the orbit, how it looks, a grazing orbit. Suppose a grazing orbit starts from here and it grazes and it goes back to the same place after one cycle of the forcing function. Now, if we perturb it slightly, then it might impact, and as it impacts, it instantaneously goes to the negative value of the velocity, and then it goes back. So, there will be a difference here, and as you change it further, that difference will increase. So, slight change here, slight perturbation here will result in a large perturbation in the ending condition. That is what is reflected in that square root singularity. It has also been shown both by experiment as well as by simulation of the actual differential equation system, that when grazing occurs, a narrow band of chaos develops that occurs for a very narrow parameter range. It is a large amplitude chaotic oscillation, whose attractor has a structure like this, a fingered structure like this, and it has been shown subsequently that that phenomenon of a narrow band, onset of a narrow band chaos, is caused by unstable periodic orbits that occur in this part, which are invisible and that converge onto the grazing condition. I will not go into that details. The bottom line is, from the classical part, from the understanding of the classical impacting system, we know that chaos develops when grazing happens. Now, we ask the question, what will happen if we consider a similar system in the quantum domain? So, microscopic system where there is a particle under the influence of a some kind of a V function, the potential function, which has a sharp boundary. So, in this case, since quantum mechanics is largely conservative, therefore, we have to conserve, at least to start with, we consider a conservative impacting system. That means, we ignore this damping term, and we also ignore, to start with, the forcing term. So, that it is just a mass spring system, which is like a harmonic oscillator, and there is a wall. Let us look at the classical behavior of this system. We have seen the classical behavior of the system with these two components, but if we do not have that, it is just a harmonic oscillator with a wall, what would be the behavior of that? Well, then there would be always a periodic orbit. There is no chaos. The periodic orbit will go like that, impact, go to the negative side, and will go back. If we now consider a ball of initial condition, a collection of initial conditions, then we will notice that there is still a stretching in the phase space. So, the ball of initial condition goes and impacts the wall. When it comes out, it is a stretched structure. As it goes around, it still retains that structure, but again on impact it stretches further. So, it is a stretching kind of behavior. Now, let us come to the quantum version of it. The quantum version will have a harmonic oscillator potential terminated by an infinite wall. So, the harmonic oscillator potential, as you know, is given by this, and then at x equal to the wall position, it is infinity. And in order to represent the position of the particle, as we know that in classical domain, the position and the momenta of the particle is exactly definable. You can define exact values of the position and the momentum. But in the quantum domain, that cannot be done because of the uncertainty principle of Heisenberg, which prohibits the system from having exact position and momenta at the same point, same time. So, the best we can do is to have, in this case we have representation of the state of the system in terms of the wave function, and the best we can do is to represent a minimum uncertainty wave function, wave packet, that is a Gaussian wave packet. So, we consider the Gaussian wave packet as the initial condition moved from the 0 position. That means, you are considering you are pulling the mass and releasing it from there, and that is represented by a Gaussian wave function that is moved from the 0 position like this. It is represented by this function. Now, how do we do the computation? Well, we know that in the quantum domain, the way in the classical domain, the evolution of the state is given by the Newton's equation or the Lagrangian equation. In the same vein, in the quantum domain, the evolution of the wave function will be governed by the Schrodinger equation. And Schrodinger equation is a partial differential equation. We can easily cast it in a form where in classical domain we know that if it starts from a state and moves to another state, then we can define a state transition matrix, which when pre-multiplied with the initial state gives me the final state. So, the classical system can be cast in that form, so that the final state can be given as a state transition matrix times the initial state. In the same way, in a quantum system, the final state can be represented as a matrix, square matrix times the initial wave function, like this. So, this is the final state after time t, which is the initial state at time 0 pre-multiplied by a matrix. This matrix in this case is called the propagator. Now, what is this propagator? In classical mechanics, we know that it is given by an exponential matrix. In this case also it is given by an exponential matrix of this form, and the Hamiltonian operator sits here. And the Hamiltonian operator is given by the combination of the kinetic part, kinetic energy part, and the potential energy part. So, in order to put it in a computable way, the Hamiltonian has to be cast as a matrix, and to do that we subdivide the configuration space, in this case one dimensional configuration space, into specific points x1, x2, x3, and for each point we can define the psi, the wave function, as psi of x1, psi of x2, psi of x3, and so on and so forth. Psi, the wave function, is a complex valued function of x and t. So, at every point of time there would be these values, and psi can be a complex number, can be defined at point x1, a complex number can be defined at point x2, and so on and so forth. So, it is a complex valued function of x, which also depends on time. And then since we know the finite difference formula like this, therefore, if we put it in the formula in the form of the Hamiltonian, then it becomes a tri-diagonal matrix. These terms are 0 and the V function, the potential energy function is a diagonal matrix. If you add them together, you get a square matrix representing the Hamiltonian operator. And that square matrix, if substituted here, it's just a exponential matrix, and which can be easily calculated by MATLAB's EXPM operator function. So, this is easy to calculate. Now, let us see what is the result of that calculation. That means, we calculate this operator, this matrix, and then use it to calculate how the wave function will evolve with time. Well, we do it for a few different cases. Firstly, when the wall is away from the grazing condition, then the wave function evolves like this. You would notice that it started as a Gaussian function, but it does develop some wiggles, because even though the classical oscillator would not impact or graze, the quantum system's probability distribution is distributed, and therefore, that would interact with the wall. So, the difference is that in case of a classical system, the mass impacts the wall, while in case of a quantum system, the wave function interacts with the wall. And as it interacts, the forward going wave function and the returning wave function, they would interfere with each other, resulting in these wiggles. Now, let us consider the condition when there is there would have been grazing in the classical analog. You would notice that these wiggles now increase, and we have a dynamics in the wave function. Here we are plotting, since wave function is a complex number, has a complex value. Here we are plotting mod psi square, which will represent the probability of finding the particle at any point of time. Now, we also have plotted a situation where it is impacting, that means not grazing, it is the wall's position is closer to that of the grazing position. Here also we see that kind of wiggles developing. But when we bring the wall at the position 0 of the potential function, then repeatedly it comes back to the same Gaussian, which means it is a periodic orbit. So, from this our conclusion is that this behavior is representative of some kind of a periodic behavior, while these are not. So, there is at least a periodic evolution of the wave function. So, we need to analyze what these are. But we dynamicists are used to seeing things in the phase space, where x and p are the two axes, and there is a representation in quantum mechanics which casts it in that form, that is the Wigner distribution, which is expressed like this, from which we can get a distribution in x, a distribution in p. So, it will be a blob in that phase space instead of being a point in the phase space, and that blob will evolve. Let us see how it evolves. So, here is the position of the wall, and here is that blob. Here is the x position, here is the momentum. So, you see it interacts with the wall, and the distribution in the position momentum space develops certain structures. When we go to a situation where it is just grazing, then you will see that it develops more intricate structures. Aperiodic structures. When it is impacting, then also these structures are there. And when it is exactly at the position of the wall, it repeatedly comes back to the same ball, right. So, we are really interested in the structures that develop in this kind of conditions, in particular in the grazing condition. We do see that the way in the classical system interesting things happen under the grazing condition. Here it happens not exactly at the grazing condition, but over a range, but interesting things do happen. So, we need to analyze the behavior here. How do we do that? Well, the Wigner distribution can also be plotted in the as a surface plot. It is interesting to see the structures that develops in the surface plot. This is the condition where the wall is away from the grazing condition. This is the condition where wall is at the grazing condition. So, you can see that interesting structures are developing, and it is this that we are trying to analyze. And this will come back repeatedly to the Gaussian form. Good. So, we are now interested to see how do we analyze this. Now, we dynamicists can analyze things when we have some kind of a time series. So, all these complex evolution in a distributed space somehow needs to be cast in the form of a time series, because quantum mechanics does not allow a well defined trajectory in the phase space. So, what we do, many other people have used the expectation value of the position of the momentum as the representation of a time series, but we have not used that for most part of our work, because different wave functions lead to the same expectation value. So, in order to avoid that problem, we have used what is known as the overlap integral, which is the overlap between the initial wave function and the final wave function. And the advantage is that it yields an exact value, a positive real value, and it does capture the periodicity. So, with this function we obtain a wave function, waveform. So, from the wave function we have extracted information in the form of a time series. Now, when the wall is at infinite distance from the grazing condition, it is naturally just a harmonic oscillator, a sinusoidal behavior expected. Wall is very far away, then also it is a sinusoidal behavior. But when the wall comes close to the position of grazing, as yet not yet in the position of grazing, then also we see, because of the distributed nature of the wave function, it starts to interact with the wall and develops a aperiodic behavior. And when it is grazing, then the aperiodic nature becomes more accentuated. And when it is impacting, then also we see aperiodic behavior. But when again the wall is brought to the position x equal to 0, it becomes a periodic behavior, as we have seen already, and the frequency of that is twice the frequency otherwise. So, we are now interested in these cases, mainly the grazing condition. It is aperiodic, we have seen. Is it chaos? Well, in order to do that, we will take a closer look at the time series. So, if we have the time series like this, we blow it up, we zoom it, and as we zoom into it, we see really a aperiodic behavior. Now, the way we normally analyze this kind of a behavior is by constructing the phase space using delay coordinate embedding, and we did that. And when we did that, we found that, well, no structures developed. It does not look like a usual attractor structure, it is just a messy ball of wool, it looks like. So, we then address the question, is there any sensitive dependence on initial condition? Well, in case of a quantum system, the initial condition is just a wave function, in this case a Gaussian wave function. So, we started from two very close Gaussian wave functions, slightly different in position, slightly different in mean, and slightly different in standard deviation. And we find that yes, intermittently they do go away from each other, but they do not have exponential divergence from each other. They more or less remain in sync, and therefore, we conclude that there is no sensitive dependence in initial condition. The Lyapunov exponent is 0. Well, there is another test for chaos which is known as the 0-1 test. I will not describe that test in detail here, you can take a look at this reference, but the test says that the time series data is subjected to certain manipulation and the result comes out as a number. If that number is 0, it is regular behavior, which means it is either periodic or quasi periodic, and if it is chaotic, then the number comes out to be 1. So, in this case we subjected our time series to that test and we found that it is 0. Therefore, it is not chaotic. What about the frequency spectrum? When we analyze the frequency spectrum, we found that there are a finite number of discrete peaks. It is not a distributed, it is not a continuum of frequencies, but there are discrete frequencies, a large number of them. So, we conclude that this is more or less akin to the behavior of a quasi periodic system. Now, let us come to the situation with forcing. We introduce forcing at that stage. When we introduce forcing, it is basically a term, forcing term is a sinusoidal forcing that gets introduced in the potential function, and as a result there is a oscillation of the potential function itself. Now, we explore what happens if a particle is released in that kind of a potential function. The potential function has that wall. The position or initial position of the wall is still represented by the same Gaussian wave function moved to the position x naught. Well, let us first see what happens in the classical domain. In the classical domain, if we do not have it grazing, that means the position of the wall is away from the grazing, then there is a frequency, natural frequency of the system, and there is a externally impressed frequency, and therefore, there would be a quasi periodic behavior. But when the wall goes and moves towards that orbit, you will find that the moment it grazes, it immediately develops a large amplitude chaotic oscillation, which becomes smaller as you go closer to the, and then as you go further out, this becomes bigger again. Intermediately, you saw that, yeah, now it becomes again a quasi periodic orbit. If you look at a ball of initial conditions, then you will see that that ball stretches and folds, and there are interesting dynamics there. That is in the classical domain. What happens in the quantum domain? Well, in the quantum domain, we see that probability density, that means mod psi square, that oscillates and interacts with the wall and develops wiggles and things like that. All that is true in this case. The overlap integral shows is a positive real value, so that can be plotted, and you see that it is a aperiodic function in this case. The Wigner distribution also shows an evolution, which is it develops structures in the position momentum space distributed over some range of the space, but it develops structures which is aperiodic. What about the Fourier spectrum? In this case, we see a very large number of discrete lines, very large, practically infinite. So, we try to explore this condition a little further, and when we did that, we increased the forcing amplitude and we did the 0-1 test for that, we find that initially for small forcing amplitudes, the 0-1 test gives a 0 result, which means it is non-chaotic behavior, but then at some values it was calculated in those values which are shown. In some values it goes very close to 1, and at the grazing condition it is close to 0.5. Now, it is known that strange non-chaotic behavior gives the 0-1 test result close to 0.5. So, our conjecture is, in this case we do have a strange non-chaotic orbit. Well, the frequency spectrum, in this case, if we look at the frequency spectrum, it has a very large number of frequencies, but discrete frequencies, not a continuum. But if we now blow up, that means zoom into it, we find that it has many frequencies. At every level we see frequencies occurring. So, it appears, though it needs to be probed further, it appears that the frequency has a fractal structure. As you zoom into it, you see more and more frequencies, and that is another signature of strange non-chaotic behavior. Is there sensitive dependence on initial condition? Well, in this case also we did the same test. That means we calculated the overlap integral starting from two different initial wave functions. We find that they do not go away exponentially from each other, and therefore, the Lyapunov exponent is 0. So, we conclude that in this case also, when there is forcing in that system, we have aperiodic behavior, not chaos, but there is signature that it is a strange non-chaotic orbit. We have drawn the bifurcation diagrams in all these cases. This is the classical case where there is no damping, but there is forcing, and at this point you see suddenly a large amplitude chaotic oscillation is developing. In the quantum domain, we have plotted the bifurcation diagram by making a stroboscopic sampling of mod psi square, which is a real number, and we find that there is some signature of this aperiodic behavior here. And if we do that for the overlap integral, then also we see a large number of smudge of dots, which is indicative of a I would not say chaos, but aperiodic behavior. We have already seen that it is not chaotic because there is no sensitive dependence on initial condition. Now, let us come to the situation, try to capture the effect of damping. We know that quantum systems do not have damping, they are non-dissipative systems, conservative systems. But it has been shown that if a quantum system interacts with its environment, then an effect akin to dissipation occurs. So, that is what we do, it is called Lindblad formalism. In this case, we consider the system, it is Hamiltonian. In this case, the representation is in the form of the density matrix rho, and it has its own Hilbert space curly H. And the environment similarly has its own Hamiltonian, its own density matrix, and its own Hilbert space. Putting them together, and they interact with a term called, we have called it the interaction Hamiltonian Hi, and which is the strength given by alpha. Putting them together, we have a total system, a total systems Hamiltonian, total systems density matrix, total systems Hilbert space. And in this formalism, what actually evolves is the total system. And total system evolves, its density matrix evolves according to this differential equation, and it can be computed. And after it is computed, the information regarding the system is extracted from that using what is known as the partial trace. and in this case the Hamiltonian of the total system is represented this way. The system and the identity of the environment, the identity of the system tensor producted with the Hamiltonian of the environment plus the interaction term. So, this is what we ultimately have a handle on, with this is what we vary. That means, how strong is the interaction with the environment. When we do that, then we see here is the position and here is the momentum. We have in this case plotted the expectation value of the position, expectation value of the momentum, and this is the representation in the phase space. But in this case we do plot something like a trajectory, because we are plotting the expectation values, and we see that it is a non-repetitive waveform. So, it is aperiodic waveform. Well, the mod psi square in this case also has an aperiodic structure. So, the probability of finding the particle in different parts of the x axis is different, changes with time in a aperiodic way. When we look at the Wigner distribution, it also shows the same kind of behavior. That means, it is distributed over a range of the phase space, but it develops structures there. This is for very weak interaction with the environment. Now, in this case we found that most of the frequency components get damped away, and there is a very drastic reduction in the frequency spectrum. There are only a few, two major frequencies remain. One is the natural frequency of the system, the other is the forcing frequency and their harmonics. The rest get washed out in this case. Now, in this case, when we plot with a higher interaction with the higher strength of interaction with the environment, then it smudges. Then it smudges in the phase space and the structure is basically lost. And we find that if we do the 0-1 test as a function of the forcing amplitude, then we see that as the interaction term becomes more and more stronger, initially there is an increase in the 0-1 test result, and as a result here I would say that it has the signature of strange non-chaotic attractor, but that after some time, as you increase the strength of the interaction with the environment, it goes down and it becomes basically non-chaotic. We do not any longer see the signatures of strange non-chaotic orbit. Is there sensitive dependence on initial condition? We exactly follow the same route and we find that no, there is no sensitive dependence on initial condition, and in this case also Lyapunov exponent is 0. So, in this case we conclude that if the system is unforced and undamped, then the dynamics is aperiodic but not chaotic, but there are finite number of frequency components. So, our conclusion is that the behavior is basically quasi-periodic, even though there are very large number of frequency components. If we consider forced but without damping, then it is still aperiodic but not chaotic, but the remarkable feature is that there is infinitely many discrete frequency components, and 0-1 test result also shows that it is probably a strange non-chaotic orbit. I will not say an attractor, because in this case it is a undamped system, Hamiltonian system. If you have a forced and damped system with weak interaction with the environment, then the dynamics is aperiodic but not chaotic, but there is drastic reduction in the number of frequency components. So, it again becomes basically a quasi-periodic orbit. But in this case we do have signature of strange non-chaotic attractor in the 0-1 test for certain ranges of the interaction with the environment. So, this work shows that if there is a physical system in the quantum domain whose setting is similar to that of an impact oscillator, which means there is some kind of a potential function limited by a wall, limited by a sharp wall, then its behavior would be aperiodic. Its behavior would have, in certain conditions, we have a very large number of frequency components, and under certain conditions, it would demonstrate signatures of strange non-chaotic orbits. Thank you.